I invited my colleague to join me at a bar. But as I was about to pay the bill, I was horrified to discover that my bank account was empty. In a state of desperation, I approached a handsome man sitting in one of the booths. "Could you cover my tab? I'll transfer the money back to you later," I pleaded. The man feigned disinterest. "Miss, do we even know each other?" he asked coolly. Without hesitation, I snatched the glass from his hand. "No, we don't. But you might want to ask your bodyguard how many times you've already caused me trouble," I retorted. "A little help in a tough spot. And you can't even return the favor just this once." The man looked confused, but his bodyguard quickly stepped in. "Sir, it's true. Every time you get drunk, you won't let anyone near you except this lady. I've had to call her several times to help get you home. She's been our last resort." Max's friends, who were sitting around him, perked up with curiosity. "Wait, seriously? Max turns into a fortress when he's drunk. How could anyone be the exception?" One of them exclaimed. "I remember once when Max got wasted, I tried to help him to his room, and he nearly broke my arm in an instant. Same here. Everyone says Max turns into a full-blown demon when he's drunk. Anyone who gets close to him ends up regretting it." Another friend chimed in. "But back when I was young and reckless, I thought it'd be fun to get him drunk just to see if I could handle him. I ended up with full body fractures and spent 2 months in the hospital. The doctor said it's some sort of extreme self-defense mechanism. He doesn't trust anyone when he's drunk, so he instinctively lashes out at anyone who approaches. What's so special about this woman that she's the first person he trusts in that state? I won't believe it unless she proves it to us," someone else said. I raised an eyebrow and pulled out my phone. "Sure, but first transfer $50 to me and I'll show you." To my surprise, someone actually took out their phone and transferred the money. The familiar ding of the payment notification confirmed the transaction. I pointed to the cashier. "Let me settle my bill first. Once you get him drunk, come find me." The entire booth erupted in playful jeers and challenges. The only one who remained silent was Max, who was now eyeing me with a dangerous glint in his eyes. I wasn't intimidated. I'd seen all his drunk antics before. I even had several pictures of him hugging a toilet on my phone. Oh, don't let his current suave and elegant appearance fool you. In my eyes, he'd already lost all dignity. After settling my bill at the counter, my colleagues and I parted ways. While they headed home, I turned back toward the booth. After all, I'd taken the $50, so I owed them a performance. Max's friends were, as expected, trying every trick in the book to get him to drink. But Max wasn't having it. Instead, he grabbed my wrist and pulled me out of the booth, leading me straight to his luxury Maybach. The car door slammed shut, echoing loudly. I rubbed my nose, exasperated. "It's not like I told you to only trust me when you're drunk. It's a hassle for me too, you know. This all started 6 months ago. One night, after working late, I saw a man sprawled out on the street, using a shared bike as a makeshift blanket. It was quite a sight. As an avid social media user, I couldn't resist taking a video. But as I got closer, I was struck by his appearance. He was incredibly handsome, though clearly drunk out of his mind, reeking of alcohol. He kept mumbling about being thirsty. I pulled out my water bottle and poured him a cup. To my surprise, he obediently drank 3 big gulps. I tried to rouse him. "Hey, don't sleep in the middle of the street. Where's your phone? I'll call someone to pick you up." But he ignored me, snoring peacefully. With no other choice, I dug through his pants pocket, marveling at his long, well-formed legs. Seriously, this guy could have been a model. I finally found his phone, unlocked it with Face ID, and called the first contact on his list. It was a video call. I pointed the camera at his face so they'd know who I was talking about. "Hey, the owner of this phone is passed out on the street. If you're his friend, come pick him up." The person on the other end didn't even ask for my location. Instead, they gasped in horror. "Move 5 feet away from the young master immediately." I thought they were worried I'd take advantage of him and scoffed. "Relax, I'm not into drunks. I'll send you my location. Just hurry up and get him." But the voice only grew more urgent. "Don't ignore me unless you have a death wish. Stay away from him." What a weirdo, I thought, and hung up the call. Then I sat down beside the man to keep an eye on him. He ended up using my lap as a pillow, sleeping soundly under the moonlight. 10 minutes later, the person from the call arrived. When they saw the scene, they looked like they'd seen a ghost. I quickly tried to explain. Look, I swear I didn't do anything to your friend. Before I could finish, the man shifted positions. Not only did he rest his head on my lap, but he also wrapped his arms around my waist as if I were a pillow. I tried to pry him off, but his grip was like iron. I tugged at his ear. Hey, wake up. Your friends are here. Let go of me and go home with them. He didn't respond, still snoring away. I turned to his friend for help. Can you please do something? I can't get him off me. The man stood 5 meters away, refusing to come closer. Frustrated, I shouted, "Why are you just standing there?" He replied, "I don't want to die." I was speechless. What did he mean by that? He explained that he wasn't just some drunkard's friend but rather his bodyguard. Later, the bodyguard drove the car over, parking it 5 meters away, and said, "Figure out a way to get Max into the car yourself." Are you kidding me? He's your boss, not mine. I was being nice by calling you, and now you're taking advantage of me. The bodyguard refused to help, standing at a safe distance with his arms crossed. Furious, I channeled all my anger into dragging the drunk man, as if he were dead weight. The bodyguard, perhaps worried that I might injure Max in the process, reluctantly stepped closer to help. But just as he approached, the seemingly unconscious man sprang to life. In one swift motion, Max pulled a Swiss Army knife from his belt, shielding me with one arm while lunging toward the bodyguard with alarming speed and precision. The ferocity of his actions was terrifying. If the bodyguard hadn't dodged quickly, this might have turned into a crime scene. I stood there stunned, my mind racing with questions. The bodyguard retreated back to his 5-meter safe zone, giving me an awkward smile. Now you understand why I didn't want to help. When Max gets drunk, no one can get near him. He becomes extremely aggressive. Instinctively, I touched my neck. Shouldn't I be running away too? But instead, the drunk Max calmly tucked the knife back into his belt, rested his head on my shoulder, and went back to sleep. I was at a loss for words. The bodyguard seemed equally puzzled. You're the only person I've ever seen who can get this close to Max when he's drunk. Are you blind? He's the one leaning on me, I retorted. On the verge of tears, I asked, "What now?" The bodyguard said, "Looks like you'll have to help get Max into the car and drive him home." Can you drive? Sort of, I replied skeptically. But are you two messing with me? Why am I the only one who can get near him? What about his parents? The bodyguard explained that Max's parents had passed away years ago, and he only had his grandfather left. But even his grandfather couldn't approach Max when he was drunk. This was just unbelievable. Summoning every ounce of strength, I managed to get the 6'1" man into the car and then drove him home. Later, the bodyguard added me on WhatsApp, saying I might come in handy again someday. Don't even think about it, I snapped. The next moment, he transferred $5,000 to my account. Instantly, I changed my tune. Oh, no problem at all. Call me anytime, really. Don't hesitate. But let's keep the rate the same, okay? A couple of weeks later, one evening, the bodyguard suddenly sent me $5,000 again, along with a message. "Miss Emily, I need your help urgently. I've sent you the location." Following the pin, I arrived at the most luxurious club in the city. Pushing open the private room's door, I found several high-profile figures, people I'd only seen on TV, sprawled unconscious across the floor. Soon, ambulances arrived, carrying them all to the hospital. When the room was finally empty, the only one left was Max, clutching a Swiss Army knife, leaning against the corner wall, drunk yet keenly alert to his surroundings. To be honest, seeing his bloodshot eyes and the kill anything that moves aura, I didn't dare get close either. My legs trembled as I quickly refunded the money back to the bodyguard. Nope, I'm not taking this job. The bodyguard immediately sent me $50,000 instead. Got it. You need a higher rate, right? That wasn't what I meant, but it was $50,000. I'm just an ordinary working girl. How could I resist such temptation? So with a deep breath, I cautiously approached Max, gently tapping his shoulder. Don't kill me. Put the knife down, okay? To my surprise, he actually listened. Squinting at me through his drunken haze, he stared for a moment before putting the knife away. Then, without warning, He wobbled and collapsed straight into my arms. He was so heavy that I lost my balance, and together we tumbled to the floor. Thankfully, just before we hit the ground, he flipped us around, cushioning my fall with his own body. I landed squarely on top of him. Outside the car, the bodyguard was animatedly explaining something to Max, holding up his phone to show him a video. Curiosity got the better of me, so I cracked the car window slightly and overheard snippets of their conversation. "That's the situation, Max. I didn't mean to keep this from you. I just haven't figured out yet what connection you might have with Miss Emily in the past. Why is it that even when you're completely out of it and your defenses are at their strongest, you instinctively trust her? I was planning to report to you once I had more information." Later, Max opened the car door and got in. I quickly pretended I hadn't been eavesdropping, burying my head in my phone. To be honest, over the past few months, I'd racked my brain at least 100 times, trying to figure out if I'd ever crossed paths with Max before. And I still came up with nothing. He was the golden heir of New York, born into a wealthy family, with a net worth in the millions. And me? I was just an ordinary working girl who moved to the big city after college, trying to make ends meet. The idea of us having any sort of life and death connection seemed downright supernatural. Watching Max's brooding face, visibly annoyed, I had the sudden urge to escape. "Haha, Max. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave now. Bye-bye. No need to see me out." As I tried to open the car door to leave, Max moved faster, grabbing my arm. "You're staying with me until this matter is resolved." "Why? Won't your girlfriend mind?" "I don't have." Max trailed off, then corrected himself. "She's overseas." "Oh, I get it. Your Moonlight is abroad. Classic trope. Wait, do I look like her? Could it be that I remind you of your Moonlight, and one time when you were drunk, you mistook me for her? Is that why you're letting me stick around? That would make sense. I mean, what other reason could there be for us to cross paths?" Max's face darkened further. "Shut up. You don't look like her." Then he added, almost as an afterthought, "And she can't get close to me either." Excuse me? Are you saying even your Moonlight can't approach you when you're drunk? Then what kind of Moonlight is she? Clearly, your heart's not in it." Max's expression deteriorated even more. His face filled with disdain. "Why do you talk so much?" I waved it off. "Can't help it. My mom ate too many pistachios when she was pregnant with me." Victor, the bodyguard in the driver's seat, burst out laughing at my words. But Max didn't even crack a smile. Instead, he turned to Victor and said, "Transfer money to her. Tell her to shut up." Ding. Victor sent me $10,000. Well, I immediately mimed, zipping my lips shut. After all, customer satisfaction is the cornerstone of being a professional worker. However, moving into his mansion was out of the question. When the car stopped in the mansion's driveway, I crossed my arms tightly. I don't do sleepovers, not even for extra money. Us Gen Z girls have principles when it comes to earning a living. Max got out of the car and shot me a look of utter disdain. "Don't flatter yourself. You'll stay in the guest room as a maid, and from now on, you'll be in charge of taking care of me when I'm drunk." And just like that, I unwillingly moved into the CEO's mansion, into the guest room. I had no choice. It wasn't up for negotiation. Max, that domineering alcoholic, forced me to become his personal drunken caretaker. If it weren't for the daily $10,000 transfers, I'd have quit on the spot. Every day, I prayed fervently for Moonlight to return from abroad. Then maybe I'd finally regain my freedom. After all, what woman could tolerate her man housing a maid as pretty as me? Rumors spread fast on the outside. People were saying Max had hidden a mistress in his golden cage. A girl he'd never pampered before, and every time he got drunk, he'd call her to pick him up. They made it sound like I was someone special to Max. God knows I was exhausted. Working as a corporate slave by day, and as a maid for a tyrannical CEO by night. Just as my resentment reached boiling point, Moonlight finally returned from abroad. But when she hurried into the mansion and saw me lounging on the living room sofa, snacking on expensive imported fruit, her reaction was priceless. I sat there, legs crossed, waiting for her to give me the stink eye and kick me out. Instead, she looked like she'd seen a ghost, stumbling back several steps and bumping straight into Max, who was walking over with his usual brooding expression. Her face turned pale as she stammered, "Max, who is she?" Max narrowed his eyes, looking down at her. What guilty conscience has you so rattled? Nothing. I just flew for over 10 hours. I might be jet-lagged. Max was silent for a moment before saying, Victor will take you home to rest. Why? Yeah, okay. And just like that, Moonlight fled in a panic, completely crushing my expectations. At the door, she suddenly turned back as if remembering something. Max, Grandpa said we need to start planning our wedding now. We can't delay any longer. Max didn't respond. His tall frame blocked my view of her. I wanted nothing more than to lean around him, grab her by the shoulders and shake her hard. Girl, get a grip. You're about to marry him. Use your main character energy and kick me out already. Max, however, grabbed the back of my shirt collar like I was a kitten, lifted me out the door, and shoved me into the car. I grumbled, what now? Where are we going? To a party. I have a social event tonight, and I'll probably be drinking. I was so done with babysitting him. Can't you drink less? Don't you know alcohol is bad for your health? Concerned about me? In your dreams. I'm concerned about myself. Can't you just get treatment for your problem, or trust someone else for a change? Max tossed a catalog at me. Stop yammering. Pick one. I flipped through it. The catalog was filled with stunning evening gowns, the kind of dress only a movie star would wear on the red carpet. It was so stunning that I could almost feel my eyes sparkle and my mouth water. But with a snap I closed the catalog. Oh, my capitalist boss, is this catalog even meant for a humble worker like me? Pick one. You'll wear it tonight. Got it. But can I pick two? What if someone spills red wine on me at the party? Actually, 3 would be the safest bet. Max shot me a disdainful look. Relax. No one would dare mess with my woman. Stingy. I'm just a maid serving drunkards. Max's words were absolute nonsense. He said no one would dare mess with me at the party, yet I ended up with a face full of red wine. Blame my big mouth. Whatever I say, it always comes true. But I'm no pushover. I grabbed that woman's hair and refused to let go. My life philosophy has always been, let go of personal decorum. Embrace the joy of being shameless. Forget overthinking. When in doubt, go crazy. I didn't care about my image in front of these aristocratic big shots, nor did I have any intention of marrying into their elite circles. I'm just a worker earning my paycheck. After being stuck by Max's side for 3 months, I was already a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Anyone who dared cross me was doomed. By the time Max arrived, I was already on top of that noblewoman, yanking her hair with both hands. Of course, she had a firm grip on my hair too. I decided I'd shave my head tomorrow. No way I'd expose the same weakness twice. Afraid Max might scold me, I quickly explained. First, she poured red wine on my dress. You said no one could bully me. This is the first time I've worn such a beautiful dress, and I only had one. Max replied calmly. There are 2 more in the car. Really? Really? I'll take you to change. What if they're not as pretty as this one? I'll buy you everything in the catalog. That did the trick. My anger subsided. Tell her to let go first, then I'll release her. Max narrowed his eyes and warned the girl. Let go. She burst into tears. Brother, I'm your sister. Wait, what? I was fighting Max's cousin? Oh no, I was in trouble. I immediately let go, jumped up and hid behind Max, peeking out from behind him with a pleading look. I surrender. Have mercy. Max ruffled my messy hair roughly. Just a worthless cousin. Don't worry. A cousin and worthless? Oh, then it was fine. Who didn't have a few annoying relatives? I straightened my back and puffed out my chest. She started it. I was just defending myself. Grabbing Max's arm, I tugged him along. Come on. Let's go see the other 2 dresses you bought for me. If you dare lie to me, I'll let you embarrass yourself by drunkenly stripping in public, and I won't even bother dragging you home. But seriously, what's wrong with your cousin? Why did she pour wine on me for no reason? She even said I'm some nobody living in your house without a shred of dignity. I do have a title. Why can't I live in your house? Max let me pull him along, listening to my chatter. He only responded with one question. What's your title? You're my made-to-order drunk babysitter, I quipped. He withdrew his arm with a look of disdain and laughed softly. You seem oddly proud of that. Of course. We working class folks earn our money honestly. We don't steal or cheat. Why should we feel inferior? Max chuckled, then escorted me to his luxurious Maybach, opening the trunk for me to see. Sure enough, there were 2 gorgeous evening gowns inside. My mood instantly brightened and I beamed with joy. Well, so you don't trust yourself either. You prepared backups even though you said no one would dare touch me. Max's face darkened. If you don't want the dresses, feel free to keep running your mouth. I wasn't about to let him off the hook so easily. Thinking of all the frustration I endured today, I rolled my eyes at him. You couldn't even protect me, and now you won't let me complain. As a boss, if you can't even protect your own employees, how can you expect anyone to work hard for you? Max finally reflected on his actions, his tone sincere and serious. All right. From now on I'll protect you. I promise. I'd be a fool to believe Max's promises ever again. I had just changed into an even more stunning gown and was heading back to the ballroom when I got word that his grandfather wanted to see me. And of course Max wasn't around. He had been stopped outside the ballroom by someone and had no time to deal with me. I was ushered into a private lounge where Max's cousin was already waiting. She wasted no time complaining to the old man. Grandfather, it's her. That shameless mistress. Who knows what kind of spell she's cast on my cousin? Cousin is supposed to marry Amanda, but she's clinging to him and refusing to leave. I stormed up to her and slapped her hard across the face. Call me a mistress one more time. I dare you. The crisp sound of the slap left her stunned. You dare hit me? I'll kill you. Let's see who ends up dead. I've never lost a fight in my entire life. The old man's cane struck the ground with a resounding thud. Enough. Everyone stop this nonsense. Emily, you leave first. Grandpa. Isabella shot me a venomous glare. You just wait. I won't let you get away with this. Bring it on. A fortune teller once said I'm tough as nails. I rolled up my sleeves. Losing anything was fine but not my dignity. That same fortune teller also said I'd face a major catastrophe in life, and if I didn't fight back, I'd end up scrubbing floors for a living. The old man motioned for me to sit. I didn't hold back, taking a seat directly across from him with confidence. I heard that when Max gets drunk, you're the only one who can approach him. That's right. He hired me specifically to look after him when he's drunk and bring him home. I'm not some mistress or anything. Do you know why my grandson behaves like that when he's drunk? What else could it be? PTSD, I imagine. And do you know what caused it? Come on, how would I know something like that? Old man, just get to the point. I'm all brains but no filter. So don't set your expectations too high. The old man began recounting his story. It went on for a full hour and he still wasn't done. Just then Victor, the bodyguard, burst in looking flustered. Miss Emily, Max is getting drunk again and is frantically looking for you. I immediately stood up and bid the old man goodbye. But as I was leaving I paused and said, I understand now. You're trying to tell me that Max suffered something incredibly tragic as a child. He was deceived by someone he trusted, which led to the death of his parents. It left him deeply scarred, unable to trust anyone again. But there was one girl who stood by his side during his darkest times, never betraying him, even risking her life to protect him. That girl is Amanda, the one Max is about to marry. So you want me to disappear before their wedding, don't you? Got it. Consider it done. As long as you help me leave, I promise tonight will be the last time I escort that drunkard Max home. After leaving the study, Victor looked at me with a constipated expression. Miss Emily, are you really leaving? Yep. 3 months of work and I've made nearly $100,000. That's enough to buy a house back home and adopt a dog. I'm done competing in the rat race of the big city. Don't tell Max about this. I don't want to be tied to his hip for the rest of my life playing maid. Dealing with a drunk is bad enough, but on top of that, I have to endure his brainless cousin calling me a homewrecker. Who would put up with this? Besides, isn't his moonlight back in the country about to marry him? Sticking around any longer would be inappropriate. Victor muttered. Actually, Max doesn't like Amanda. It's the old man forcing the marriage. Not my problem. I returned to the banquet hall and saw Max in the middle of a drinking contest. His friend spotted me and started teasing. So it's her, huh? The girl who can get close to Max when he's drunk. Let's see if it's true tonight. Let's get Max drunk. I walked over and sat next to Max, muttering under my breath, "Can't you drink a little less?" One of his friends chimed in, "No way. Do you know who Max is drinking against tonight? The top hypnotherapist in the country, Dr. Robert. Max wants Dr. Robert to hypnotize him and help him recall a blurry memory. When Max was a kid, something terrible happened to him, but his memory of it is hazy, and he's been avoiding it for years. Recently, for some reason, he's decided he wants to confront the nightmare. But none of the hypnotists he's tried could help. Dr. Robert is his last hope. But Dr. Robert said he'd only do it if Max could outdrink him." I rolled my eyes. "Let me guess, you all teamed up with Dr. Robert to set this up, just to see if I'm the only one who can get near Max when he's drunk, right? Don't deny it. You all reek of scheming." The room erupted in laughter, and they all gave me thumbs ups. "Haha, so what if you guessed it? Last time I sent you $500 and you still owe us a performance. Pay up. It's only fair." I threw my hands up in surrender. "Fine, whatever. I'm just a hard-working tractor, always pushing, pulling, and dragging with all my strength just to get Max the drunkard home. The life of a worker is exhausting. Complaining won't help. It's just tears at this point." I raided the food section, stuffed myself, and came back. Within 5 meters of Max, not even a mosquito dared to venture. Everyone was watching me with eager eyes, waiting for me to perform my trick. "Who won?" I asked. Someone replied, "Dr. Robert is out cold, but Max barely managed to outdrink him. Still, he's completely wasted. Time for your show." "Fine. Let's settle this debt now." I walked over to Max without hesitation. He was slumped in a single armchair, pressing his temples with one hand. His face was flushed from drinking, and even his neck was red. I jabbed his forehead hard. "Get up. Time to go home." Dragging Max along like walking a dog, I pulled him by the arm and started moving. When Max wasn't too drunk, he behaved just like this, docile, letting me lead him around without resistance. The people around us all rubbed their eyes in disbelief. Am I seeing things, or is Max not drunk at all? He's definitely not drunk. When has a drunken Max ever been this obedient? No way. I need to test this out. Maybe I can get close to Max too. In the next moment, a blood-curdling scream erupted in the banquet hall. "Ah, Max, I'm sorry. Don't kill me. Emily, save me." Some brave soul, refusing to believe the rumors, had approached Max to test his temper and ended up with a Swiss knife pressed against their neck, just a hair's breadth away from drawing blood. In a flash, I hugged the out-of-control Max tightly, gently patting his back while cautiously trying to calm the lion's mane. "Don't hurt anyone. Be good. Put the knife down, Max. If you don't put the knife down right now, I'll get mad." With a swift motion, Max sheathed the Swiss knife back into its holster at his waist. The tall, drunken man was swaying unsteadily on his feet, his face flushed with alcohol. He glanced down at me with a pitiful, almost pleading expression that melted my heart. The people around us gasped in disbelief. My eyes must be deceiving me. What kind of drama am I witnessing here? Can you two just get married already? Among the voices was Max's cousin Isabella, who barked angrily. Are you all insane? Stop shipping them. My brother belongs to Amanda. Not listening, not listening. Alele. Love or not, the body doesn't lie. You don't understand, men. This is the kind of love that's etched into his very bones. Under the awestruck gazes of the crowd, I dragged my obedient puppy Max out of the banquet hall. Driving alone, I took him back to his place. My mood was inexplicably stormy. Max had already fallen asleep in the passenger seat. His handsome face, impossibly attractive, was practically a weapon of seduction. But was I even allowed to have such thoughts? I thought back to the story Max's grandfather had told me, and my nose stung with the threat of tears. This infuriating man was actually quite pitiful. His emotional wounds ran deep. And after I left, who would take care of him if he got drunk and passed out on the street again, using a bike-sharing rack as his bed? Ugh, stop it, Emily. Snap out of it. Tonight's job would be my last. I had to leave after this, otherwise I was afraid I'd fall for him too. Who could resist a domineering CEO who acts like a cuddly drunk puppy when he's around you? Amanda, his moonlight, had returned to the country. I refused to stoop so low as to become the other woman. The car pulled up in front of the villa. I yanked Max out of the car. He leaned his head against my shoulder like a clingy puppy, mumbling about feeling sick and wanting to throw up. "Who told you to drink so much?" In his drunken haze, Max mumbled. "I wanted to remember." "Remember what? That nightmare you wanted to forget? Aren't you afraid it'll hurt more if you remember?" His eyes were rimmed red as he looked at me. "I want to marry you." Cough cough. "What did you just say?" I must have misheard. Definitely misheard. But Max wrapped his arms around me, resting his head in the crook of my neck and softly murmured, "You smell so good. I remember this scent. I won't forget." As I half dragged, half supported him into the house, I rolled my eyes at the drunkard. "Thanks. Call me Scented Hillbilly next time. Why haven't you been around? I never forgot you. Are you playing reincarnation games with me? I didn't even know you before." Finally, managing to get him into the bedroom, I shoved him onto the bed. But Max grabbed my arm, pulling me down with him. We tumbled onto the bed together. I yelled angrily, "Get off me." "I won't." He was truly drunk, clinging to me like a koala, burying his face in my neck and nuzzling. I could feel the dangerous heat radiating from him, his breath scalding. "Hey Max, calm down. Look at me. Clearly, I'm just the maid you're paying. Not your long-lost Moonlight who just came back. You're not a maid. Fine, I'm your mom. Be a good boy and call me Mom. Emily, I remember your name." With that, he captured my lips, silencing me with a kiss. My brain exploded into a chaotic mess. Wait, what kind of scene is this? Max, let me go. You bastard, give me back my first kiss. I wanted to cry. No matter how hard I pushed, I couldn't get him off me. This horrible man had finally crossed the line into workplace harassment. Max's grandfather had said someone would come to escort me away tonight. The person sent to pick me up waited downstairs for ages, but I never came down. Somehow, Amanda and Isabella ended up barging into the room together. Caught in the act, Isabella screamed insults at me and lunged to attack, but Max, drunk and fiercely protective, grabbed her by the throat and nearly choked her unconscious. Amanda and I worked together to pry her out of Max's grip. I roared, "If you don't want to die, get out." Isabella, now terrified, retreated with Amanda. Standing at the door, Isabella didn't miss the chance to hurl more abuse. "You slut. And you still claim you're not the other woman. Amanda, how can you put up with this? She's sleeping with your man." Amanda said, "Miss Emily, you have 10 minutes to get yourself ready. We'll be waiting for you in the living room." I wiped my swollen lips furiously, unable to retort for the first time. The frustration was unbearable. I wished I could kick the culprit straight into the Pacific Ocean. After splashing my face with cold water in the bathroom to calm down, I found him already fast asleep on the bed. Annoyed, I pulled the blanket over him and muttered my farewell. "Max, I'm leaving. From now on we're strangers. Take care of yourself and stop drinking when I'm not around." Max was dead to the world, completely unaware. This rough man waking up tomorrow to find me gone. Would he search the entire city for me? What was I even thinking? I'm just a maid. How could I possibly leave a mark in the young master's heart? Emily, you're delusional. I forced myself to stop imagining things and packed my luggage in the guest room. Only then did I realize how much I'd managed to take advantage of Max in the past 3 months. One suitcase wasn't nearly enough to hold everything. In the end, I dragged 3 large suitcases to the living room. Amanda and Isabella were already seated on the couch, waiting to show me the door. Amanda no longer appeared as weak as she did when we first met. Sitting there, she held herself with poise and authority. "Miss Emily, thank you for looking after Max during this time. Max and I are getting married soon. I originally wanted to invite you to our wedding, but Grandpa said it's easy to adapt to luxury but hard to return to simplicity. He's afraid you might develop habits you can't afford, so it's better for you to leave early. It's for your own good. Everyone needs to recognize their place and status." I scoffed. "Can I go now, or are you going to keep talking nonsense?" With that, I couldn't be bothered to engage further. I walked out with my suitcases, exuding an air of nonchalance. Goodbye, so-called high society adventure. If I ever heard about Max again, It'd probably be news of his wedding to Amanda. Months later, I learned Max never married Amanda. After I left, the city was turned upside down. At first, Max only searched for me within a small area. 2 months later, he went completely off the rails. He even came to my hometown, camping out at my house and occupying my bed. My mom secretly called me, her voice laced with a mix of concern and curiosity. "Han, be honest with me. Did you swindle that young man out of a fortune? I've only seen men this determined when they're chasing after debts. He's been camped out at our place day in and day out saying things like you can run but you can't hide. Sweetheart, we can't afford to have a bad reputation in this neighborhood." I was at my wit's end. "Mom, just call the police," I pleaded. But she sighed, clearly torn. "Your dad won't let me. That young man is a genius at chess, and your father has become completely obsessed. They play matches every night after work. Men can be so useless when it really matters, including your dad." With New Year's fast approaching, I was in a bind. "Mom, how am I supposed to come home now?" I groaned. She hesitated for a moment before asking, "Emily, to be frank, do you owe him money? Or could it be a debt of the heart?" I hung up, feeling exasperated. What a mess. Why hadn't I thought of faking my own death back then? A few days later, my mom called again, her tone surprisingly upbeat. "Sweetheart, you know what? I think this young man isn't half bad. Why don't you two give it a shot? Avoiding him forever isn't a real solution. You need to face this situation head on." Alarm bells went off in my head. "Mom, spill it. What did he give you?" I demanded. "Well, it's nothing much really," she replied unconvincingly. "Don't lie to me. You and Dad have clearly been bribed. It's only been a few days and you're already on his side. I'm so disappointed in you. Consider yourself blocked on my phone for a month." No discussion. Days passed and I didn't hear from my mom. I'd effectively cut off communication. Then, I stumbled upon a trending headline about Max's company. The news was abuzz with rumors that Max had stripped his grandfather of all his power within the family business. The media was speculating wildly about the power struggles and family secrets within the wealthy elite. An insider Ballal said that old Mr. Thompson, along with the family-chosen bride Amanda, had tried to manipulate Max. But Max, after regaining some lost memories, had fought back and taken control of the situation. The article was short on details, leaving readers desperate for more. Unable to resist my curiosity, I messaged Victor. "What on earth happened? You've got to tell me all the details. Hello? Are you there? Say something." After a long wait, Victor finally replied with a simple message. "Call me." Curiosity getting the better of me, I called him, and we talked for over an hour as he filled me in on all the juicy details. Just as he was getting to the most interesting part, the door to my room suddenly burst open. In strode Max, his tall, broad figure filling the doorway. His chiseled features were set in a determined expression, and his intense gaze locked onto me. I let out a startled scream. "You had Victor call me just to track down my location, didn't you?" Max didn't answer. Instead, he walked over, scooped me up into his arms as if I weighed nothing, and started carrying me out of the room. "You've been a naughty girl, leaving without a word. Now you're sentenced to stay by my side forever," he declared, a hint of playfulness mixed with possessiveness in his voice. And just like that, I was back in the city, locked up in Max's luxurious villa. As a punishment for the cold winter weather, he banned me from eating ice cream. In retaliation, I promptly ordered a feast of hot pot ingredients. As I happily dipped slices of snowflake beef into the steaming broth, I looked at him and asked, "So you're saying you were deceived by Amanda and your grandfather? And the girl who stood by you in your darkest hour, the one who protected you, wasn't Amanda at all, it was me? But I have no memory of any of that. Are you absolutely sure you didn't get it mixed up?" Max rolled his eyes at me, his gaze both amused and exasperated. "There's no mistake. After I beat Dr. Robert in that drinking contest, he put me through 2 months of intense hypnotherapy. I remembered everything. I even spoke to your parents. 10 years ago, your family went on vacation to Charleston. They said you got lost during the trip, and they were beside themselves with worry, searching everywhere for you. When they finally found you, you were running a high fever. When you woke up, you couldn't remember anything that had happened. He paused, looking at me intently. How about letting Dr. Robert hypnotize you too? Maybe it could jog your memory. I quickly waved my hands in refusal. If I've forgotten something, it's probably for a good reason. I'm not going to dig up painful memories on purpose. Although, I do remember my mom mentioning that I got lost on a trip when I was a kid and barely made it back. Fine, Max said, pulling me closer. Let's say you really did save my life. What do you think about us? Are you going to accuse me of repaying kindness with cruelty for keeping you here by my side? Before I could protest, he suddenly pulled me onto his lap, his arms wrapping firmly around me. My cheeks flushed bright red and I struggled to get free. What do you think you're doing? Let me go. Stop being so forward. Max ignored my protests, his eyes fixed on my lips. Did you enjoy that kiss when I was drunk? He asked, his voice low and husky. Rubbish. You were the one who kissed me. And it was terrible. I lied. The truth was I'd replayed that kiss in my mind countless times over the past few months. Max reached out and gently tilted my chin up, his gaze intense. Then, how about I give you something even better? Before I could respond, his lips were on mine, and I found myself melting into the kiss, all my resolve disappearing in an instant. I still remembered the carefree feeling I had the night I left the city, but after I was gone, I couldn't stop thinking about Max. I tried to distract myself by traveling, using the nearly $100,000 I'd earned from working for him. I explored mountains, rivers, grasslands, and felt the ocean breeze on my face. Even though I'd never been in love before, it felt like my heart was going through a breakup. When my mom told me Max had shown up at our house looking for me, a small part of me felt a strange sense of satisfaction. But I knew deep down that Max was supposed to marry his moonlight. I couldn't let myself hope for something that was never meant to be. That is, until the news broke that Max had refused to marry Amanda, and had even clashed with his grandfather over the issue. At that moment, I couldn't help but feel a flutter of excitement in my chest. I called Victor, trying to sound casual. Hey, do you know if Max and Amanda still have any unfinished business? I was taking a huge risk, but I couldn't help myself. Just then Victor burst into the room, interrupting us. Max, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Miss Yvonne has arrived. I tried to pull away from Max, but his grip only tightened. What are you so afraid of? We have nothing to hide, he said confidently. I don't have your thick skin. Why did you call her here? To humiliate me? I asked, annoyed. But Yvonne didn't act the way I expected. She approached me with red-rimmed eyes and said, Emily, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have insulted you before. It was all my fault. Can you please forgive me? I looked at Max in surprise. Can I say no? Yvonne flinched and tears started streaming down her face. Max shrugged. Of course, it's up to you. Then I don't forgive her, I said, crossing my arms. Yvonne broke down into sobs. Amanda was sent to Africa to do charity work for 10 years. And I don't want to go there too. Please, Emily, I'll be your servant for the next 10 years if you just spare me. I'm begging you. I raised an eyebrow. Okay, then prove it. Say woof 3 times. To my surprise, she did as I asked. Fine. I didn't really hate you that much anyway. Every time you tried to bully me, I gave it right back. From now on, you're my servant, and you'll do whatever I say. Yvonne looked up at me gratefully, and after she left, Max gave me a knowing smile. 10 years, huh? What? Do you feel sorry for your cousin? I challenged. Max smirked. We share the same blood. If she's your servant, doesn't that mean I could be your servant too? I rolled my eyes. Oh, please. Max's expression suddenly turned serious. Not a servant. I want you to be my queen. I've never been in love before, but I want to learn with you. Is it too late to start? His words took me by surprise. I looked into his eyes and saw the sincerity there. After a moment, I took a deep breath. Well, I guess I could reluctantly give you a chance. But you have to promise me one thing. Drink less from now on and no more getting drunk. If you do, I'll make you kneel on a washboard. Max pulled me into his arms, laughing softly. Deal. A day later, one of Max's friends called me in a panic. Sis-in-law, hurry. Come to Starlight Bar. Max is drunk again. I couldn't believe it. Had he already forgotten his promise? I jumped into the Maserati he'd bought me and sped off towards the bar. As I pulled up, I realized this was the very same bar where our story had first begun, where I'd begged Max for help when I was in a bind. The world really did work in mysterious ways. Back then, he'd stubbornly refused to get drunk in front of his friends. Was he making up for it now? I rolled up my sleeves and marched inside. To my surprise, several of Max's friends were waiting at the entrance. "Sis-in-law is here," they cheered in unison. "You're amazing, sis-in-law. Come on in." I stopped, eyeing them suspiciously. "What's going on? This is way too over the top. I have a feeling you're up to something." They all protested innocence. "We wouldn't dare. You're Max's one and only. You should have seen how crazy he went when you left. And we're your biggest fans. We've been shipping you two since day one. When you left, it was like our hearts were broken." I rubbed my nose, still not entirely convinced, but I knew Max's friends were die-hard supporters of our relationship. Taking a deep breath, I stepped inside the bar. The usually lively bar was quieter than usual, and there was Max sitting on a small stage near the bar, holding a guitar. He was strumming softly and singing. He didn't look drunk at all. My heart skipped a beat. Could this be a proposal? Panic set in. I hadn't put on any makeup, and I hadn't even washed my hair. I wanted to turn around and run, but then his voice reached me. "Oh baby, thank you for being the light, a fleeting brilliance in my world. In this vast sea of people, you're the one I can't forget. On these drunken streets, you're my most beautiful encounter." Max sang the original love song, his eyes never leaving mine as he made his way through the crowd. The people around us started cheering and encouraging me to go up on stage. My face was burning with a mixture of embarrassment and excitement. He set down the guitar, picked up a microphone, and continued to sing as he walked towards me. Then he dropped to one knee, looking up at me with an expression full of love and devotion. He sang the final line of the song. "Oh baby, my one and only girl I trust, will you marry me?" From his pocket, he pulled out a stunning engagement ring. Our friends started chanting, "Say yes, say yes." It was cheesy and a little embarrassing, but I couldn't hold back the tears. I reached out my hand, and he slipped the ring onto my finger. He stood up, gently cupping the back of my head, and kissed me deeply. In that moment, a distant memory seemed to surface. I remembered a bloody teenage boy collapsing in my arms, asking for my name. "I'm Emily," I had said, like the flower that lingers in memory. The boy had replied, "I'll remember it. I won't forget." And now he had kept that promise.